Today we're going to actually just start by reviewing how to multiply and divide fractions. A lot of what we do in the next couple sections will be revolving around the arithmetic of how do I multiply and divide a fraction. And then later, how do I add and subtract? Do I need common denominators or do I not? How do I cancel factors? And that's really the big idea today is how do I cancel factors? Because most of you obviously, hopefully know that when you multiply and divide fractions, you don't need a common denominator. For example, the first one says 8/15 times 5/14. The basic idea of solving or multiplying these fractions together is to take top times top and bottom times bottom. 8 times 5 is 40. 15 times 14 is going to be a little bit bigger of a number. 150 and 60, so 210. Okay, so after that then, being able to simplify. So dividing by the largest factor that goes in the top and the bottom. So I believe we can divide top and bottom by 10. I divide the top by 10, I get 4. The bottom by 10, I get 21. But is there a faster way or a more efficient way to get that answer? You could always just multiply top times top, bottom times bottom, and simplify after the fact. But there's this new concept that I like to do called cross-simplifying. So just rewriting the same problem underneath. Looking at the numbers that are across from each other. For example, the 8 and the 14. Are there factors that divide into the 8 and the 14 both? Of course, you can divide the top by 2 and the bottom by 2. It's a similar concept. If I divide the 8 by 2, I get 4. The 14 by 2, I get 7. The same thing with the 15 and the 5. I can divide the 5 by 5 and get 1, and the 15 by 5 and get 3. Now, when I multiply my new top times top and my bottom times bottom, I should get my simplified answer immediately. 4 times 1 is 4. 3 times 7 is 21. 4 over 21. The ability to be able to simplify not just the 8/15, but also as if 8 was over 14 or the 5 was over 15. Because really when you multiply those fractions together, that's what you'll have. You'll have 8 times 5 over 15 times 14. You can simplify that way. Okay? Now it makes it a little bit tougher when we start with mixed fractions, being able to convert a mixed fraction to an improper fraction. And that is you take the integer, which is 4 times 2, and then you add the 1. 4 times 2 is 8 plus 1 is 9. 4 1/2 is the same as 9 halves. Times 5 times 3 is 15. Increased by the 1 is 16 over 3. You keep the same denominator as the original mixed fraction. Now let's do our cross simplification. So look at the 2 and the 16. I can simplify the 2 and the 16. I can divide the 2 by 2, which is 1, the 16 by 2, which is 8. 2 is a factor of 2 and 16. Just like 3 is a factor of 3 and 9. So when I divide the 3 by 3, I get 1. When I divide the 9 by 3, I get 3. And now I can multiply top times top, bottom times bottom. 3 times 8 is 24. Over 1 times 1 is 1, not 2, and which means you get 24. With the next one, 1 2/3 times 4. Change the 1 2/3 into an improper fraction. 1 times 3 is 3, plus 2 is 5. 5/3 times 4. 4 is really an integer, which means an integer is always over 1. Are there any simplifications here? Let's see, 1 and 5. Nope, only 1 can be divided into both. That won't change. 3 and 4, same thing. So if I multiply top times top and bottom times bottom, I should get my simplified answer, 20 over 3. Leave it improper. Improper, just leave it as an improper fraction. Okay? Now, pause the video and do the next 3. Pause the video and complete the next 3 problems. I will put the solutions and answers up, or the teacher, someone will put the answers up for you to check your answers after everyone is done. So for 5 6 times 24, you should have gotten 20 for that. You should have gotten 20. You should be able to cross simplify the 6 and the 24. For 4 5 times 4 1 6, that should be the same as 4 5 times 25 6, which means you can cross simplify by dividing by 2 and dividing by 5, and you should have gotten 10 over 3. And the last one, 12 over 1 times 5 eighths, you should have cross simplified the 12 and the 8 by dividing by 4, and you should have gotten 15 halves for that. The next part is division. Now really division is the same as multiplying, but it's multiplying by the reciprocal. For example, if I ask you to divide by a third, like 3 divided by a third, that's really the same as 3 times the reciprocal of the second fraction, 3 over 1. It means the same thing. So when we have a division problem with a fraction, we're going to change it to multiplication of its reciprocal. So 3 over 1 times 3 over 1 is really 9 over 1, or 9. So 1/2 divided by 8 is going to be the same as 1/2 times the reciprocal of 8, which is 1/8. Now, if you were able to cross simplify, like the 1 and the 8 or the 1 and the 2, you would do that, but we can't. So top times top now, bottom times bottom is 1 over 16. So we're changing division into a multiplication problem. The last one, 3/8 times 1/16, or divided by 1/16, is the same as 3/8 times its reciprocal, 16 over 1. Now this one we're actually able to cross simplify. We can divide 8 by 8, which is 1, 16 by 8, which is 2. You could have divided by 4. We want the greatest factor to simplify as much as we can. 3 times 2 is 6. 1 times 1 is 1, so we get 6 as our answer. Okay, pause the video and do the next 3 on your own. All right, for the number 9, you should have done 12 over 1 times 1 7/8 is the same as 15/8. So if I reciprocate that, it would be 8/15. 12 over 1 times 8/15. You should have cross simplified. The 12 and 15 are both divisible by 3. 4 times 8 is the top, that's 32. The numerator is 32. 1 times 5 is 5. 32 fifths for that one. Or 9.5 divided by 3. 9.5 is really the same as 19 halves. Flip the 3 over 1 and multiply times a third. We are not able to cross simplify. 19 times 1 is 19. 2 times 3 is 6. The last one, 40 is the same as 40 over 1. Now we're going to multiply by the reciprocal. 4 and 4/9 is really the same as 40 over 9. 4 times 9 is 36 plus 4 is 40. Reciprocate that, you get 9/40, sorry. We're actually able to really reduce this one. Divide 40 by 40 and 40 by 40. We actually get 9 over 1, top times top, which is 9. Now if we move along and actually look ahead, we're actually able to do similar concepts, and we're only going to concentrate on the monomials, division and multiplication of monomials. So just a real simple concept is, if you look at this one, is the ability to simplify a monomial divided by a monomial. The entire numerator, top, is 10 times x to the 8th. There's no addition or subtraction, it's one term. 6x to the 4th is one term. Now we treat the 10 over 6 as if it was a fraction. We've kind of talked about these exponent rules already once we get to those. 10/6 is really the same as, if we reduce 10 and 6, divide by 2, we get 5/3. Okay? Simplify your fraction, your coefficients. X to the 8th over x to the 4th. When you divide common bases, like x's, you subtract the exponents, 8 minus 4. Now, since we started with the 8 on top, 8 minus 4 gave us 4, we put our answer on top. Or another way to think of it is, where are there more x's on the top? That's where my x to the 4th will go. Just a simple simplifying problem. Now, if you turn the page, we can actually multiply in the same sense. So if you look at problem A, let's use our cross simplifying rules to simplify these fractions before we actually multiply them together. If we try to multiply them all together first and then simplify, it'll still work. So you can do that. Take top times top, bottom times bottom, simplify afterwards. But we can save some time by cross simplifying. So let's look at the top left and the bottom right. The 3 and the 9 can be divided by 3. Divide by 3. Look at the 2 and the 10. The 2 and the 10 can be divided by 2. So divide the 2 by 2, you get 1. The 10 by 2, you get 5. Okay. Now look at the x's. Okay. We can actually simplify the x's first. Okay. We have x to the 5th on top. We have x squared on the bottom. Okay. And actually, the best way probably to deal with the variables is to actually simplify after. So let's actually put these fractions together first. So top times top would be 1 times 5, which is 5. Now when I take x to the 5th times x cubed, I add the exponents because it's the opposite of dividing. X to the 5th times x to the 3rd is x to the 8th. Y to the 3rd times y to the 4th, add your exponents, y to the 7th. So we're just using our fraction rules to multiply the fractions together. Top times top. Now look at the bottom. 1 times 3. On the bottom would be a 3 for our coefficient. X to the 3rd times x squared is x to the 5th. Y to the 7th times y to the 5th is y to the 12th. So we kind of combine these together first. Okay? Now let's simplify. So we already know 5/3 is simplified. Our fraction, we did that beforehand. X to the 8th over x to the 5th, subtract your exponents. 8 minus 5 is 3. There are more x's on top, so the x to the 3rd goes on top. Now since there's more y's on the bottom, when I take 12 minus 7 to get my y to the 5th, the y to the 5th will go to the bottom for that. Could you cross simplify and simplify beforehand? Absolutely. But if it's too difficult, you can multiply across and simplify afterwards. Okay, let's turn the page. Let's do a division one. There's actually 2 of them. So again, division of 2 fractions is the product or multiplication of its reciprocal. So I can actually rewrite this as 5x to the 4th over 8x squared y squared times the reciprocal of the second fraction. How's it going? Good. 8y to the 5th over 15. I think it's not like this. Something like that. Okay, so simplify, cross simplify first. Divide the 5 by 5, 15 by 5. Got it. Divide the 8 by 8, 8 by 8. Let's multiply across. 1 times 1 is 1, so we don't have to write it. X to the 4th, y to the 5th. Over the bottom, 1 times 3 would give us 3 on the bottom. X squared, y squared. And then simplify wherever you have common bases. So the x's, I would take x to the 4th over x squared. You can write the 1 on top if you want, so you have x squared on top. And then y to the 5th over y squared, subtract exponents, you'd actually have y to the 3rd on top. Alright, so actually let's do one more. X squared over 4 divided by x 4th y over 12y squared. So again, let's turn division into multiplication of the reciprocal of the second fraction. Let's do any cross simplifying with our coefficients if we can, like the 4 and the 12. We can divide by 4 each of those. So you get 1 on the bottom, 3 on the top. If you want to try doing some cross simplifying with your x's in this one, you can. So if you look at this, we can cross simplify with x squared and x to the 4th. X to the 4th, x squared divided by x to the 4th, we take 4 minus 2, we'd have x squared on the bottom. Okay, it gets a little messy when you do this, but it still works. Y squared over y, subtract, we'll end up with y to the 1st. So I like maybe just crossing out the exponent instead. Okay, multiply everything across. So multiply the top, we got basically 3 times y to the 1st, or 3y. The bottom is 1 times x squared, because the y on the bottom was canceled. So you should get 3y over 1x squared. Okay, so for practice, I'd like you to do the worksheet that the sub will have for you, or the teacher. That'll be due actually on Monday.